All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, the open beta weekend for Battlefield 6, at least the first one, has now concluded. And I wanted to make a video talking about the positives, the negatives, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, to make sure that we have a solid launch come October 10th. Now, when it comes to this stuff, obviously, it's a work in progress. It is a beta. We know things are going to change between this video and the launch, and that's kind of what this is all about. I want to put out my thoughts so that the developers can watch it and consider making changes, additions, or whatever else. One of the main things that a lot of people are talking about in this beta is the destruction. There's a large group of people who really enjoy the destruction that we're getting in Battlefield 6, and there's a lot of people who think that a lot of the destruction is kind of not really that great, or some of it's really over the top, like you throw a C4 at a building and the entire thing kind of comes down. The one thing that stood out to me during the multiplayer reveal for Battlefield 6 was this.
And of course, destruction. Something Battlefield does unlike anyone else.
You sure about that? The destruction in Battlefield 6 is okay. It's not Bad Company 2 level destruction, nor do I think it needs to be. But if there's one studio that you're probably very familiar with in this industry that can absolutely eat you for fucking lunch when it comes to destruction, it's Embark and the finals. Now, I did a little test. I jumped into a private match of the finals and I fucking destroyed everything just to prove a point.
RPG en route.
Oh. There it is. Bye-bye. Oh, shit. That's so cool. Oh, yeah, there goes a corner piece. Holy shit. I need that. Oh my God.
Oh shit! It's so gross.
Wow. Now, I also understand the finals is a completely different experience. There's only a max of, I think, 16 players on a server compared to Battlefield 64, and the entire game revolves around that movement through all of this destruction, whereas Battlefield is a lot more infantry focused, which means the buildings don't need to be completely leveled. But I will say that I think looking at the tech that the finals, or that Embark has for their destruction, and after playing the finals for the last few years, the destruction in Battlefield 6 is honestly a little bit lackluster. And the first time I really noticed this was when I was at the LA event when we started playing on the Empire State map. Now, this map is what you guys are going to be playing in week 2 of the beta this upcoming weekend. And the one thing I noticed is a lot of the buildings inside Empire State are one entrance in, and that's it. Like, that's your in and out. So I found a lot of the time I'm running through the map trying to learn it, there's a lot of dead ends. There's a lot of buildings that you think you should be able to run through, get into the back, kind of like a Siege of Cairo, but they're just not that. And I actually started to get a little frustrated playing on Empire State.
Oh my God, what is
I've got a tugs up for minimap.
No, go through here. What the hell is this map?
What the heck was that?
Okay, this map is throwing me off, dude.
Support on the marked objective.
Yeah, that's got to be their main back there. Or no, their main is to the north. I don't know.
Yeah, it had to have been too kind of spawn.
It's weird. You can run through buildings, but they don't lead anywhere. It's like a little. It's strange. It's throwing me off a little bit.
Got him. My tugs did not detect that guy.
Interesting.
Down the road from Charlie.
Oh!
Right side.
And during that reveal, you can actually see, I'm going to play the clip here, I tried to blow a hole through the back of a building to get out and create an exit point, and you just couldn't.
Oh,
They're in there. They're in there. They're in there. They're in there. Sorry, I should have said that.
No, it's all good. They have a nice chest-high piece of cover.
Where the buildings do destruct and fall down and you can blow, I think that is really, really cool. I think those buildings are fucking incredible, and I think the destruction and the visual element of it is insane. But I do think that within the urban maps of Battlefield 6, at least the ones that we've played so far, there is an aspect that is leaving me feeling a little bit empty when it comes to being able to blow holes in certain buildings, to create funnel routes, to create new paths. We don't really have that freedom to do what we used to be able to do in the franchise. And so while I think the destruction is cool, and while I think that it's definitely an improvement over the past few iterations, I'm left feeling a little disappointed. Especially when I know some of these buildings should be more destructible, and they can be more destructible. It seems like they just opted not to. And I don't know if that's because they know the routes that they want to create on these maps, and they want to make sure that players can't have that freedom to be able to create new lanes. And I'm left kind of wondering why, because like I understand that there's a necessity, especially like even in the finals, you can't destroy every single building on the map, but you can destroy a vast majority of it to create new lanes for you. And I'm wondering why Battlefield opted to be as limited as they are. There is a lot of destruction in Battlefield. There's a lot of key areas on all of these maps that I feel could benefit from a fully destructible building, or a building that you can actually blow a wall out of to create a lane to go behind an alley and get a flank. And in my opinion, a lot of these areas aren't really well thought out. So I would like to see a little bit more destruction. However, I don't think we're going to see that going into the launch. I think a few of these buildings deserve to be able to be leveled down a little bit more to create those flank routes, to create that tactical advantage. And in my opinion, just to make things like the grenade launcher feel a little bit more impactful. And the thing is because there's this visual symmetry between all of these different props, it's not like, you know, in a split gate where you know where you can put a portal and you know where you can't. In Battlefield, you just kind of have to guess and hope that it works. And I think that's kind of lame. One of my biggest complaints throughout this entire beta process is the fact that we're not able to test the large scale conquest maps with multiple jets flying around, multiple helicopters. Liberation Peak, I think in terms of conquest, is the best kind of closest to Battlefield that we know. And I gotta say, like, sharing that opinion online has just brought in so many smooth brain, low IQ fuckheads where they think that what I'm asking for is like a running simulator where you have to run between points. No, I just want more of the vehicle gameplay. I had a game yesterday on the last day of the beta where I was an engineer, I was taking out jets, helicopters were flying by trying to get us, and it was one of the best times that I had in this beta, and I want more of that, and I want that on a bigger scale. Coming from Battlefield 4, which is kind of like the last Battlefield title that I put a lot of time in, and I'm talking more recently too, one thing I've noticed that we don't really have a lot of is those small transport vehicles. ATVs. There's a couple of Humvees that spawn every now and again, but you don't really need them. Running between points isn't that long, which, don't get me wrong, isn't a bad thing. But I would like to see that all-out warfare, large-scale conquest feeling where you could ride an ATV. You could ride these smaller vehicles that could transport you. So it's not necessarily a running simulator, but you actually have a battlefield to work within. And I feel like we just haven't seen that yet. And so I'm supposed to go off of what I'm playing in the beta as a way to like, well, do I need to buy the game or not? Is this the game that I want? And I feel like we need to see one of those in one of these future beta weekends. Now, I didn't expect this tweet to do numbers the way that it is. It's literally pushing 750,000 views, and the conversation around it has been fucking ridiculous. There's two things that I wanted to point out in this tweet. The fact that these maps, these urban style maps, don't really have a lot of verticality between them, but the fact that you can also kind of glitch and parkour your way up these buildings and scale the AC units to get to the roofs, which I don't think is intended, makes me question their map design philosophy. Because what you can see in this clip, when the guy actually gets to the roof, and this video is actually submitted by a user in my Discord, when they get to the roof, you can actually see the sheet metal kind of like lining the one angle, which is indicative of the fact that when you can get to roofs normally, they have those things on there that kind of gives you a launch pad to be able to jump to other places. This actually feels like it's going to be the piece of a bigger battle royale map, which is why you can actually access the roofs in this map and there's no punishment for it. Usually in Battlefield titles, when you get to places like this, they have like the kill timer, which tells you to get back to the battlefield or you die. This doesn't have that, but you have to kind of like parkour and climb your way up through breaking windows that just prove to you that the building isn't actually real. There's no floors behind it. They're completely blacked out. There's volume blockers, so you can't access these floors. But I guess my question is why? You know, seeing him move around this building and you can just see kind of into the rooms and then they're blacked out for no reason. why not give us access to this and add a little bit of verticality to the map? And a lot of people were suggesting that all I wanted was for the ability to go rat fuck on a roof. But for me, I think that there's a lot of value in playing towards that verticality in terms of map design, but then also adding things like tarps and if you look at, like, you know, bazaars in Egypt where they have like all of the tarps and it's like a market district, and so you can't actually visually see below you, but then you get that gameplay where you're shooting across rooftops, there's a battle going on behind you. Yeah, you can maybe throw grenades and everything else, but your vision is very obscured, so it doesn't give the rooftop people the advantage to just shoot down on you. That's just pure map design, and I'm wondering why that didn't happen here, especially when it's clear that you want the players to, at the very least, be able to access the roof. You didn't make it easy for them, but there's no thing deterring them from doing this. It's very, very weird. And so for me, I wonder why this was even a thing in the first place. And is this supposed to be a thing? Do you want players scaling buildings like this, jumping onto AC units and then vaulting before they break below them? Like, it's very, very weird. The one thing I pointed out in the tweet also went a little viral is the fact that the compass wasn't on by default. There's a lot of settings that people are discovering that are buried very deep between menus upon menus and layers upon layers. And so I guess my biggest complaint from a UI perspective is that your settings menu is a fucking disaster. It's a mess. The fact that I have to go through 3 or 4 different menus and different sections to get to a compass to toggle it on, which in my opinion should be on by default, is fucking insanity. Call of Duty also has this problem where you give us a lot of options to choose from, but you don't make it easy to find. At least in Call of Duty's case, they allow you to favorite the settings that you know you're going to be tweaking with a lot, so you can favorite them. They always show up at the very top of the front screen of the options for you to find, and then at least you can track them a little easier. One thing Call of Duty does that Battlefield needs is the ability to search for settings. When you have so many settings sitting in between menus and layers, just let us search for it so we can find exactly what we want. I also think you should take a page out of Call of Duty's book and allow us to adjust the HUD the way that we want to. I see a lot of people making rearranged HUDs and taking all of the information that you see at the top with like the flags and the tickets and putting it above their mini map in the bottom left corner. If we actually had the ability to adjust our HUD inside the game, I think that would solve everybody's problems. If you don't want a cluttered HUD, you can change it. If you want all of the information at your fingertips, give us the option to do so. A lot of people are calling this the next gen FPS experience, and while I can't fault them for saying that when it comes to the visuals and the sound and the actual gameplay, there's a lot of quality of life features that I think this game is missing, and that's one of them. And I think a big one when it comes to quality of life is just the amount of information that the players get while they're driving vehicles. The vehicle gameplay needs a complete overhaul from front to back, from controls to the actual HUD and the actual information that the game is relaying to you. There's a lot of things that they need to work on when it comes to the vehicle gameplay. I'm not saying it's like a bad foundation. I'm just saying it feels like they got there and they could have taken it a lot further, but opted not to. I also think this is a shit or get off the pot moment for Battlefield when it comes to the closed weapon conquest versus open weapon. Make your fucking choice. And in my opinion, go closed and give the class identity the love that it deserves. I want there to be a risk reward for every single class choice that you choose. Closed weapon is the best way to actually worry about balancing between classes. Now, even when it comes to the open conquest, there are a lot of balancing features that need to be done. The fact that Assault can run a secondary shotgun is pissing off so many people. It is insanity that as an Assault, you can have an assault rifle, a pistol, a shotgun, a grenade launcher, a stim pen that gives you movement speed increase, flash, stun, and explosive resistance, and that is all in just one kit on top of the Pathfinder options that you have for each class. That is fucking insane. An engineer being able to use an assault rifle, a pistol, an unguided RPG, a stinger launcher, all in one class. There's no risk reward. You have to be able to give the players options and make them choose which kits they want to use. The fact that a support can utilize an assault rifle, a pistol, defibs, as well as the bag that not only replenishes ammo, but also replenishes health as well. They put it on one gadget, which in my opinion is fucking insanity. As a support, you should have to choose whether or not you want to resupply people with ammo or resupply people with meds. And in my opinion, that also trickles down to the squad sizes as well. We're sitting with 4-player squads because there's 4 different classes, and each class can do absolutely everything that that class is designed to do. In my opinion, what it should be is 5-player squads where you have options for things like support. So if you want to run a support that replenishes ammo, and then you have another player playing support that replenishes health. So you have to choose as a squad to cover as many bases as possible for the situation that you're in. In my opinion, that's the rock, paper, scissors gameplay that Battlefield is known for, and we don't quite have that yet, and I don't know if the developers really want to go that route. But in my opinion, that right there and that balancing and that discussion about all of these different class choices is what makes Battlefield Battlefield. And I feel like we could harp to the heavens about it, but if the developers have gotten this far without testing that and without going that far in depth, I don't think we're going to see it, which fucking sucks. Outside of those issues, we did find a lot of small things, like in Cairo, there's one corner that if you run into, it says that you're outside of the map boundaries, but you're actually not. There's a lot of small things like that that just kind of need to be cleaned up, and I'm sure their QA has already picked up on a lot of these issues. I had a really good time this weekend. I put, all told, even with the LA event, I think I have about 30 to 35 hours in the game, and it's really, really fun. I played on stream, I played with online friends, I played with IRL friends, and I had a blast the entire time. I thought I was just gonna play until I got all of my challenges done, and then I just had the itch and I played for the next 2 days afterwards, just off stream. And I don't usually do that when it comes to FPS games. Yes, I was recording everything, but I didn't really plan on making content. I just wanted to spend this weekend playing a game, and man, it was a fucking blast. There is a solid foundation here. I would say it's more solid of a foundation than a lot of AAA FPSs get right off rip, and I'm very curious to see what they're going to do in the future. The unanswered questions that we have in terms of monetization. You know, they keep saying that all of these skins are going to be grounded in reality and they want to ground it within their universe. We'll see what happens 3 months after launch. What does post-launch content even look like? Obviously, we're going to do the season passes, the battle passes, the new maps every season. Like, what does that look like? How many maps a season are we doing? That's the stuff that I want to know about. That's really going to tell me if this game has legs. Right now, I'm enjoying it. If I were to pick this game up right now with all of the content that we know is coming at launch, I'm probably going to get like 100 to 200 hours out of it and be completely satisfied with that gameplay. But how do we take that and long play it over the next 4 seasons of content for the next year? What does that look like? Are you guys going to fall back on your word of these grounded in-universe style microtransactions? If enough people buy them or enough people don't buy them, are you going to switch up that strategy? Everybody knows what happens in Call of Duty every year. They always start off with the clean military look, and then Beavis and Butthead is teabagging me 3 months later. So I'm curious to see what happens here. The beta was an overwhelming success. I think the stat came out today that they had over 5 million different players log into the beta this weekend, which is huge. Steam had 500,000 concurrent players, which peaked Call of Duty's all-time peak, and it's just a fucking beta. I'm feeling good about the future. It's really just in Battlefield Studios' hands to see what they're going to do and if they're going to fuck it up or if EA is going to come in and fuck shit up for the rest of us. Only time will tell, but as of right now, I'm really enjoying my time with Battlefield 6. Oh, and just so everybody's aware, guys, I was sponsored for my Battlefield stream and I was sponsored for one video. If you're going to continually schizo post on Twitter for hours on end saying that we're all paid and we're all not disclosing things, guys, I'm not being paid for this thought. I think there's things that need to be fixed, but I actually think the game is in a really good spot. And I think if you look around the internet, there's a lot of creators who aren't being fucking paid, who aren't being sponsored, saying the exact same fucking things I am. So shout out to Simon B for making videos talking shit about the game and the influencers that are talking about it and covering it and saying we're all paid influencers. go fuck yourself. And shout out to BlueDrake42, who spent an entire day talking to an AI, trying to get it to name me as an influencer who doesn't disclose sponsorships. You're still malding about something that I've already disproven a fucking year later. Go fuck yourself. To everybody else, I hope you guys really enjoyed the beta because it's a fun fucking game and I don't need to be paid to say that. If you guys end up liking the video and you want to rock with my Battlefield 6 content, leave a like on it and subscribe for more shit just like this. I'm going to tell you how I feel regardless of sponsorships, regardless of anything else. And as much as people want to say that all of these influencers are just paid shills trying to promote this game, guys, I don't give a fuck if you play it or not. I really don't. I don't give a fuck if you pre-order it. I don't give a fuck if you play it or not. I really don't give a shit. I'm going to tell you guys how I feel about games that I'm enjoying, games that I'm not enjoying, and everything in between. And if you don't like it, fuck off.